Hello, my name is Anodea Judith, and I work with the Chakra system. I've been working with the Chakra system for so long, about 4 decades now, that I ought to have the word tattooed to my third eye. The chakras are such an elegant system for our personal and planetary growth. And I'd like to talk to you today about understanding just what a chakra is, and we'll hone in and look deeply at how imbalances can occur in the first chakra, which is about our grounding and the foundation we create for our lives. And each one of the chakras is a center for receiving life force energy from outside, for assimilating it into the inside, processing it as if you're processing these words right now, and for later expressing that life force energy. And the chakras store energy as well to keep you going in life, just the way your cell phone has a battery that stores energy so you can use it. But sometimes a chakra will store too much energy, and sometimes it's so closed down that it doesn't have room to store very much energy at all. And I have a diagnostic system I've developed for the chakras that works with this and deals with bringing them back into balance. And the diagnostic system looks at a chakra as being excessive, which means it stores too much energy, or deficient, which means it's not able to store energy. So what causes a chakra to become excessive or deficient? It's really the kind of coping strategies that we develop and practice through life. And the deficient chakra results from a coping strategy that is trying to avoid something. It's pulling the life force energy away from that level. And of course, this can happen in any one chakra. It can happen in all of them. The excessive chakra results from an overcompensating strategy. In other words, maybe you didn't get enough love in your life and you overcompensate by trying to be the center of attention. Well, we're going to zero in on the first chakra at the base of the spine, which relates to the element earth. So you can imagine it might have something to do with grounding, with being in the body, with being able to manifest prosperity and what you need to survive in your life, and to feeling safe and secure, solid and stable. When the first chakra is balanced, these are the gifts that it brings, that solidity, that sense that I can go out and do what I need to do, to make the money I need to make, to keep my body alive, to keep myself going. And so that all comes from being able to relate to the earth. So what happens when the first chakra becomes imbalanced? And maybe you relate to some of these things. Maybe you don't feel safe and secure. Maybe you feel a little jumpy in your body, or maybe you're a person that lives up in their head and has pulled away from your body. That means you might not pay so much attention to what your body's feeling. You might get overtired. And when the chakra goes deficient, it's like pulling away from the earth, which is pulling upward. Now, there's many spiritual disciplines that say that's a good place to go, and it is, but not without deep roots to support you. So when the first chakra goes deficient and one pulls upward, you might have a hard time manifesting. You might have a hard time expanding inside so that your life force energy, your being, your spirit, can really drop down into your inner temple and feel safe and secure and fully present in life. So when the first chakra is constricted, there's no room to do that. That's why we live up in our head. And even if we want to come down, we don't quite know how. And now, by contrast, let's look at what happens when the first chakra goes to the excessive side of things. Well, if you imagine earth energy being about the body and substance, if you go to the excessive side of things, you might tend to create a little larger body than you want. Why? Because that can feel more grounded, because there's a layer of protection. You might feel more embodied that way. And yet, of course, all of us that struggle with weight, and I've certainly been there, know that we might not want that. And yet, on an instinctual level, that is what the body is doing to help you feel safe. So that's an overcompensating strategy. Sometimes people can be too attached to security, or you might be too attached to worrying about where your next meal is coming from and do you have enough money and hanging on to things. Whereas the deficient goes up into the head and maybe doesn't even deal with these things as well as they could. So how do we balance that? Well, we need to come into proper grounding. We need to be able to push the life force energy down through the legs, down to the earth. Because the first chakra at the base of the spine is somewhat away from the earth. So the legs are like the roots. And indeed, the name of this chakra, Mooladhara, means root support. When we can root down, the excessive chakra can discharge some of its excess and come into balance. And when we can draw energy up the legs from the earth, in the same way that roots draw nutrients from the soil, the deficient first chakra can expand and learn to receive and to have. Thereby, the chakra comes into balance and forms a solid foundation for the rest of the spiritual journey. So if you want to live your life more on purpose, and you want to become more balanced in each and every chakra, then you want to learn the practices that will take you there, the exercises that will move the energy through your body. I'm so excited after years of teaching around the world where students have said, "Do you have a video of these exercises?" that I've created this online course with Hay House in which you can access all of this information as well as the exercises and practices that you can do on a regular basis to keep yourself in balance and attuned. One exercise that I did in one of my workshops was done by a student who had a breakthrough in moving her will through obstacles. I saw her at another workshop 6 months later, and she'd lost 30 pounds. I said, "What did you do?" She said, I really didn't do anything. My metabolism shifted when I broke through my will. I remember the moment it happened, and I'm not playing the victim anymore. I'm taking charge of my life." So this is the kind of result you can have with these practices. The chakra system is a map not only for your own evolution, but for the evolution of humanity in general. As we do the inside, the outside begins to change. As we evolve ourselves, we are helping to lift consciousness for all of humanity. Don't miss this opportunity to have a simple way to bring yourself into better alignment between heaven and earth, to live from your core, and to really understand yourself and others on a much deeper level. Personally, I've been traveling on the rainbow bridge between heaven and earth, working with the chakras for 40 years. I've developed so many practices, and of course on a daily basis I use them on myself. And it has just made my life better and fuller and richer as the years go by. It's my delight to bring these practices to you so you can live an amazing life, rich with living in the full spectrum of your possibility.